Greetings, travelers. Welcome to Channel 42's Cafe Radio. This is In the Cafe, and today we're holding another interview with another great friend of ours, Zaz Ariins. Zaz, say hello to everyone.
Hello. Hi,
Uh,
folks.
Zaz, it's great to finally catch up with you. It's been kind of a busy week for both of us, so this is
Yeah.
excellent. Um, you know, there's been so many things that you've been involved in the game for so long now. Why don't we just start at the beginning? And whereabouts are you from? Like, what part of the world do you live in?
Originally, I'm from the UK, so I spent most of my life in the southeast of England, and I'm now in Australia. So I moved out here. I married a local girl that I met in London, and I moved out here around about 15 years ago. So I live on the coast of Australia, around about 2 hours north of Sydney.
Oh, that's so cool. That must be so beautiful out there.
It's seriously, it's like being on holiday every day of the week, and yeah, like I'm probably one of the few people who visited Boyd's McDonald's built on a paradise planet, and that's what McDonald's look like over here. So
Oh
yeah,
man,
there's palm trees everywhere. It's
really?
it's like living in some sort of paradise. Yeah, it's great. It's every day's a holiday.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to book tickets out there and come on out.
No, you
Jeez.
should do. You should.
Absolutely.
The only thing that sucks is that Unification Day is always at 4 a.m. in the morning. But apart from that, we've got beaches.
Yeah, I guess so. You're something like 16 hours ahead of North America time. Um,
It's a fair old way, yeah.
that's right. I guess it's Monday today for you. We're recording on a Sunday here for this event, so
Yep.
that's a day ahead. Interesting. Oh man, time just gets away. It seems you've been playing NMS for geez, forever. I've known you since some of the beginning days back in Amino Hub when I first heard of the AGT. How long have you
Yeah.
actually played No Man's Sky?
I've literally played from launch, and with I'm not somebody who rotates a lot of games. I don't have the time, and I get into something and I stick with it. And my son occasionally drags me off for a game of FIFA, the football game. But apart from that, literally the only game I play is No Man's Sky.
You know,
So
it's
it's held my attention from launch, really.
yeah, it's very funny you say that because I'm somewhat the same where I don't really have a lot of games or a lot of time to devote to multiple games, so I just sort of stick to one that I really really like. And No Man's Sky has had me literally addicted ever since launch myself.
Yeah.
It, and the growth of the game, it just keeps me coming back, and I don't know what I can tell you other than I just love the game. What
Yeah.
do you like in the game? Like what keeps drawing you back?
It's changed and it's sort of evolved and it goes in cycles, and I think that's probably one of the things that I like about it so much. I I loved the solitary nature of the first game. I loved the fact that it was glitchy. I loved the fact that it crashed because it just felt as though you were playing something that really shouldn't be here. And I think at the time the programming, in a sense, supported that it shouldn't be here because it blue screen constantly. But when it worked, it was just a thing of beauty. And it's just evolved constantly. So sometimes I'm obsessed with just exploring. Sometimes I'm obsessed with building. I like to create. I like to reach out. I like to engage. But for a long time, I didn't know any part of that community existed. So, we were all essentially the solitary traveler alone in the universe. And I really like getting back to basics sometimes, just doing the stuff that you forget because you're too busy doing other things. And that's what draws me back in all the time.
Yeah, draw. There's so many things really. I mean the game is it's so open. There's so much to it. There's so much for all the different types of player styles. For somebody to find something and just keep coming back. For me, I love ship hunting and
Mm.
exploring and warping and I'm not so big on the base building. I don't really have the architectural eye as some of the other fans out there do. I've been to some of your bases, and I have to admit you're pretty darn impressive. your farms,
Thank you.
your bases, your ambassadorial bases, um, just gorgeous. And you've come up with some really amazing builds that they're not necessarily glitch builds. It's all within the game, and you can do them within the confines of, without glitching. But you've got this way of making things look amazing. I mean, the first time I ever saw it, it was one of your bases where you had stairs, but they weren't in a conventional way. You use them for shape and conforming the shape of the architecture on the underside of the building. And the first time I saw
Mm.
that, I thought I was just the shit. I mean, it was really, really cool. Um, what, what kind of bases do you like to build? I mean, do you like building the farms? Are you like a you like building really cool architecture, or is it like objects, like sneakers and ships and some of the other really, really wild um, things that the other people have been building.
I actually do like building farms. I haven't had to build farms for a long time because my finances are pretty well set up. But the farm that I built most recently on my new permadeath safe, which I think you saw, that
Yes.
was that was just like a saying hello to an old friend because you immediately build a farm and it takes you back to those times when things were newer and you couldn't, there was no duping. Stasis devices didn't exist. You made your money through nip or albumin pearls or, dynamic resonators if you didn't want to farm. So I build a farm and it takes me back to sort of happy days. And it's not to say that things aren't happy now. They're just different. And I know there are players who are starting out and players who are starting new saves and farming is a big thing for them. For me now, I probably like to just build bases that challenge me. You're right. I still tend to go in a fairly conventional build style. The one thing that I've always been in awe of are the people who can really make infrastructure zing. And I look back at my time when you and I first came across each other, when I traveled to the Amino Hub towards the end of Pathfinder. Amino Hub to me is just where all of the great infrastructure builders came from. And I look at what people like Boyd and people like Ranger were doing, and it just blows me away. And I still don't use as much infrastructure as I would like. And I look at people like Rich Smith at the moment, who's done some amazing things in the Fever Cloud system. And it's all stuff that was there right from the very beginning. And I really love the fact that there are people who can still make the basics sing. Glitch building is incredible, but if you take something that everybody has and you can make it special, then that really does set the bar and really give a challenge.
There is an art form in being able to do that. I fully appreciate, being able to take some of those components and make them into something that actually looks like something, you know. My designs are somewhat basic and block-like and so on, but when I look at builders like Boyd and yourself, Ranger, Swisher, a lot of those characters from AH, you're right. It's like the old school builders convention over there, and they can
Yeah.
make some amazing stuff as well as yourself. You're no slouch. I got to tell you, I've always enjoyed your bases. And there's something to be said about farms. You're right. Like in permadeath, there is no help. You got to
No,
make
that's
it
it.
all on your own, and it's a whole new challenge when you're playing the game. To do it on permadeath and to try and amass a wealth so that you can get those ships, that you've gotten accustomed to just go and buy a ship. I've got all this money.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have that, and you don't have anything. You have to earn it all. And permadeath is a really, really great way to go back to those roots and enjoy the game again. I know myself, I've
It's the
really
absolute best
enjoyed
fun.
it. Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And you can do it with survival or other game modes as well. But to do it all over again it's a fun challenge, and it's not all that tough. It's just, of course, it's time consuming, to build up wealth and farming and the math. Uh,
Mm.
the beginning days, there's all about the math, whether you're figuring out the math for the puzzles on the ships for finding crashed ships, or the observatories for finding monoliths. All of that, right? It all had math, and you needed to remember to do that again.
Yeah.
And math to figure out, the plants, like how many of a certain plant are you going to need to fill up a certain amount of biodomes to work in your complexity limit, and then it just goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
Those are kind of fun math problems to solve that go along with the game as well, which is so deeply entrenched, right? HG has done a great job of adding simple math to the game to make it fun. One thing that I wanted to ask you, not a lot has really been talked about, is the AGT. Yourself, I believe you are one of the founders of AGT.
Yeah.
Would you please tell us and the audience, what is the AGT? What does it stand for, and what's it all about? There's a little bit of a mystery there, and quite frankly, I'd like you to tell us all about your civilization.
Okay. The AGT is the Alliance of Galactic Travelers. So we have been in existence for around about 2.5 years, and I think if I was to sum us up, I'd say that we were probably one of the first and most significant nomadic communities. So, unlike a lot of other civilizations which are based around a set place in a galaxy, we we had that, but it wasn't what defined us. So we came together as just a group born out of a comment on a Facebook group in the No Man's Sky Facebook page, and we just came together. We set up a group, and the reality was that we were a group for, I guess, the travelers, the nomadic people. And I've seen comment on some groups that we're basically a sort of caravan gypsy society, and there's a degree of that. You don't have to be linked to a key area of space to call yourself a member of the AGT. And we have a census. We have unofficial members. Our official count is probably somewhere around about 300 registered travelers, and we are active across every platform, and we're active. I'm going to say it. I think we're probably active in more galaxies than probably any other group, because we have players in galaxies from Euclid to Hilbert, Calypso, Dr. Nawira. Ice and Tam is obviously big for us, and of course, I'm out there with you guys in the 42nd, and we actually had somebody in Isengala, the 255th, before it became a little bit easier to get there through a new game, and obviously I've
So they did
I've taken a say
they did the
there.
hard work.
They
Yeah.
did. They did a lot of warping. Now they were on PC. I don't know whether or not that simplified things massively, but I think it certainly made it easier than warping 255 galaxies. But yeah, look, in essence, just to come back to your original question, the AGT are probably more like a standard typical civilization now. We have capital regions. We've got one in Hilbert. We've got one in Euclid. We've got one in Isentam. But that's something that came after the formation. And if you are looking for a civilization, but you want to explore and you don't want to feel as though you have to be based in one area, I still think that the AGT is probably a really good option. And the one thing that we've tried to do as we've grown is we've tried to take more of I guess, a responsible role in the space that we occupy. So we try to foster good relations with other communities. We try to foster good relations with other players. We try to just reach out and be helpful, and really understand the role that we play in really just making this universe as good a place as it can be for everybody.
I've known the AGT, or I've known of the AGT for quite some time myself. Ever since, geez, back in the day, I was hunting around Amino Hub. it's always been an ambassadorial kind of a group. I see you guys are all over the place, every galaxy, like you said. You're coming by and visiting other hubs and civilizations. Um, you guys really are an amazing group of people. Um, you said you're on Facebook. Is that the media platform that you run your community out of?
That's the primary one, yeah. So
Yeah.
we have a Facebook group, Alliance Galactic Travelers, I think it is.
Okay.
We have a Reddit page, which Reddit is obviously where the Federation exists, and so we are we are Federation members, and we maintain a Reddit page, and we try and keep that as active as possible. We have a Discord. We have an Amino. The reality is that probably Facebook and Reddit are our primary platforms.
Okay. I mean, if you're interested, I'd very much like to have a link that I can drop in chat here. And
Yeah, absolutely.
if anyone is interested in checking out the Alliance of Galactic Travelers, I highly recommend it. Nothing but a great group of travelers, and they've got great content in their community. Um, I can't say enough about Zaz and the Alliance of Galactic Travelers and many more of his members. Oh my God, so many names just sort of come out of the woodwork. I won't go off on a list right now, but there's some really great personalities there. And if anyone's interested in something a little bit different and checking out a different civilization, and I definitely recommend the AGT. All right, so we'll put that at the bottom of the chat, and I'm going to start wrapping a few things up here, so I'm going to rush on to the next question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
We've
Yeah,
got
it's good.
no worries, no worries. You mentioned you made the pilgrimage to 42. That was
Yeah.
that was something we all really enjoyed. It was a project and a really fun thing for a group of us to do. You were within the first wave. You came in the first wave with us to 42, and it was one heck of a ride. All of us sort of bouncing off each other and warping like crazy and discovering all kinds of crazy things out there.
Yeah.
I never really had the chance to ask you, what made you want to come out there with us and make that ridiculous pilgrimage all the way out there to 42? What was it that drew you out there? Was it the warping? Was it the exploring? Or just to be with friends? I mean, everybody's got their reason.
It's a bit of both. The warping, the covering distance is a real draw.
Cheers,
Actually
buddy.
warping an entire galaxy.
I love
That's
doing that.
that's
Yes.
fantastic. And I haven't done enough of that. I did it on my permadeath save. I warped the entire galaxy. I did a couple of entire galaxy warps on the way to 42. I had a lot of help, and shout out to people like Predator Hunter who piggybacked me so many times that I don't have thanks enough to give that guy. But it's just getting it's like I was saying earlier. It's just getting back to basics, and it's just really embracing that stuff that you've probably forgotten in the drive to make your billions and glitch your builds. It's just traveling, and traveling was really good. So I took a save that I'd had lying dormant in Isentam, which I was never going to use again because Isentam is very pretty, but it's maybe just a little bit too staid for my liking. And I figured it was an adventure, and the idea of traveling with people like you and Lily and a whole heap of other people that I've known, but maybe not known well enough for a couple of years. I knew that when we got there, we'd do great things, and we would do great things because we had great people, and that's probably the essence of community for me. We don't have to all be affiliated by the same initials, the same civilization. If you have good people and you put good people together, they do good things. And I think 42, when Beyond settles and we can all put our head above the parapet and see what we're looking at, I think it's going to be a really fun experience.
Oh, it's going to be like a whole brand new galaxy again. What stayed, what didn't, what's different. Like,
Yeah.
do we have new ships or new things to find, new biomes? There's a whole new galaxy that's literally untouched.
Yep.
It's it's another great opportunity. We've already sort of explored a little bit of it, and had a little bit of fun, and but I think the weight is here now. We all want Beyond to drop so we can do it again,
Yeah.
and explore the Zobe as we've been calling it. Um, I'm I'm proud to say, that all the people that came with us out there. Um, Kudos to all of you, for doing that. Some people like traveling, like that. Some people not. Um, but the effort to go out and to be a community member and have fun with a community and to do things with people in the community with the Amino app, or for that matter Facebook or any of the other media apps, um, that's where the real fun in the community is.
Yeah.
We've been bringing multiplayer to this game before there was even multiplayer, and we do it in the media app all the time. I would just say, just continue the great work, Zaz. You're an amazing traveler, and I'm really proud to know you. Um, I do have one more question, and I ask everybody
Okay.
this: do you, Zaz, have the answers to life and everything else in between?
No, I don't.
Well,
And I'm sort of quite happy with that because it's one fantastic adventure. And let's face it, if I had all the answers, I'd just be so sickeningly smug. Nobody would want anything to do with me. So it's probably better this way.
I love it. That you know what? That's got to be one of the best answers ever. Zaz, thank you so much. I really, really, really appreciate your time today.
No,
It
it's a
was,
pleasure.
it's awesome getting to know you and hearing your voice. We spoke a little bit here and there, but sometimes it's tough when in a chat room full of others, to really get to
It
know a
is, yeah.
single person. And I really enjoyed today, and I hope everybody else that got to watch has enjoyed it as well. Zaz, everybody, cheers.
Thanks for having me.